Welcome to the Purpose and Profit Club podcast for nonprofit leaders, mission-driven creatives, and social entrepreneurs. Get ready to stop dreaming and start doing. Here, ideas become action. We prioritize purpose and profit. You ready? Let's go. Have you ever found yourself putting off a meeting or dreading an upcoming meeting with a prospective client or donor or anyone who you have to pitch, and you found yourself going, I don't know what to say. And you're looking and searching for the right thing to say, the right script, the right template. And you know the difference between a yes and a no is finding that, right? Finding the right words, discovering what to say. Okay, this episode is for you. So let's talk about the right way to say something and the wrong way to say something in a potential client or donor meeting. Have you ever heard somebody say a series of words, a series of phrases, and been like, that's it. That is what I've been needing to say, or that's actually the best way possible to say it. And let me go back and re-listen to that recording and let me write down what they said as fast as possible. So in my upcoming prospective meeting, I can say that too. I was on a coaching call with one of my clients recently, and she basically said that this happened to her, that she was going in for a potential funder meeting and she didn't know what to say, and she had heard somebody say it just the exact right way. And she was so excited. Like, her energy was, that was it. That's what I need to say. The way she said it, those words. That's what I haven't been able to come up with that I need to figure out and replicate. And I loved her excitement about it. I did. And I loved that it gave her clarity, hearing another person say it. And the way that they were saying it was just a for instance. So they were saying, like, you could say to a potential funder, X, Y, and Z. And for her, it just gave her so much clarity, but I also think it gave her confidence, and it gave her like a clear roadmap of what to say. And that was the piece that she didn't feel like she had up until now. And for me, I see those flashing like danger zone signals. That's what I was seeing when she was talking. And here's why. If you've ever brought a template or a script or like a sales script or anything like that, you've probably had one of two things happen. Either you've downloaded the thing and you're like, you just kind of cut and paste and you run with it and you love it. Or you download the thing and you're like, it doesn't sound like me. That's not what I would say. And even in my own programs, I sometimes will give out templates. I don't give out scripts, but I give out templates. And I always say adapt within your own voice. And the reason is like you have to adapt what it is I'm saying to fit two things. It has to fit you and your voice and your values and your product or service or whatever the pitch is. It also has to fit the person on the receiving end and align with them, right? And so if there was one right way to pitch a donor, one right way to pitch a customer or client, then there would be one marketing book on the shelf, and it would be like things to say to people to make them buy. Things to say to people to get them to donate. There would be one book at Barnes & Noble, and that would be it, right? One book available. And inside, it would just be one sentence scripts, right? But the truth is, that's not how the world works. That's not how humans work. That's not, and I'm glad for that. And I think that it actually gives me personally a lot of comfort in that, because I don't want things to be one size fits all. I don't want the way that a person pitches me to sound like robots, right? So let's go back to the beginning. Let's say you are that client who I just had a coaching call with, and you're thinking what she was thinking, which is, now I know the exact right words to say because somebody else said them and it sounded great. And we talked about it in depth, and really all she heard excitement, confidence, courage, proof of concept. That's what she heard this person say. She liked that. And those are all things that you can say too. And you can say them in your own words, in your own sentences, in your own tone, without it being follow the leader, without it being completely cut and paste. And so keep that in mind. So the next time you've got a big meeting coming up, maybe it's a discovery call. Maybe it's the first time you're going to lunch with a prospective funder. Maybe it's anything that's like a new prospect, right? A new customer. You're thinking to yourself, I don't know what to say to get the yes. I don't know what to say to get the sale. I don't know what to say to get them to join, right? To sign up, to take action, right? So when you're in that space of feeling like I don't have the right words, I don't know what to say, you will prove that true, right? I have a training coming up as at the time I'm recording this. And if I go in to write the emails and write the social posts and reach out to my contacts, and I'm thinking, crap, I don't really know how to market this. I don't know what to say. What should I say? And then I start looking at a bunch of marketing books and I start looking at what other people are doing and just going into like comparison mode. Like I'm going to end up writing something that is watered down. I'm going to end up writing something that doesn't sound that exciting, right? It might appeal to some people, but it's not totally it. And it's really, really easy to do that. It's really, really easy to trust what's out there instead of trusting your gut and trusting what's in here. So instead, to market this, I will take a look at what it is I'm teaching, why I'm excited about it. I'll think about who it's for. I'll think about who I want to attend. Who are the people that I'm like, oh my gosh, they need this. This is who I think should come. I'll think about them. I'll think about how I would describe it to them if I was going to be texting with them or chatting with them on the phone or sending them a little voice memo. How would I say? And what I would say there is not in a marketing book. What I would say there is not just something that somebody else said. It's just something I would come up with, right? And it would be in my own tone, in my own personality, with my own confidence, right? Being willing to hear the yeses, being willing to hear the nos to get the yeses. So let's go back again. You've got a meeting coming up and you're saying to yourself, I don't know what to say. So one of the prompts that I like to tell myself is, well, there's two that come to mind. One is if I was just going to guess what to say and I wasn't going to be wrong and I wasn't going to make it a big deal if I fumbled a few words, right? If my pitch didn't come out perfectly, like what would I guess I would need to say, right? And just start talking. And then I also like to, instead of saying like what the thing is, so instead of saying, this is what our program does, this is what our service does, talk about the impact. Talk about the why. Like, why do you do what you do? What is the purpose of it? Why should anyone come to my free class? Why should anyone come to my webinar? Like, let's talk about it, because when you leave my webinar, you're going to be fired up. When you leave my webinar, you're going to be so fucking clear on next steps. When you leave my webinar, you're going to have hung out for an hour with a community of people who are just like you, who get it, right? Like, what is the why? What is the point? What is the impact? Go to that space. That's what people want to hear about. I don't really want to hear about the features and the nuts and bolts and things like that. So when you're painting the picture to that funder and you're sitting and having coffee with them, and it feels awkward and it feels like they have something you want, right? And that you're just trying to say the right exact set of words. What if that's not true? What if you could just throw that out the window and be like, you know what? There's like a bajillion different ways I can get a yes in this. Why not get a yes where I'm not biting my fingernails off? Why not get a yes where I have a little bit of fun with it? Why not get a yes where I actually say to them, hey, I'm excited for this meeting. I'm a little nervous too. Or I'm about to make a big ask. You ready? Like, I like to be a little cheeky and have a little fun with it in those moments of like, listen, you might not have heard this way before, but I got an ask for you. What do you think about this idea? I'm going to pitch you. You ready? You listening? Right? Have a little fun with it. Like, have your own personality. And that doesn't mean that you don't go to webinars and you don't sit in classes and you don't sign up for trainings and you get something from the teacher or the instructor that really resonates with you. Of course you do. But really, really be cognizant that you're not just thinking, following the leader, that you're not just regurgitating, right, exactly what they've said, right? Because they don't actually know the answers for the situation you're in. They don't live in your world. They're not the owner of your business. You are. You're the owner of your business. You live in your world. You have a unique intuition. You know the person you're about to have that discovery call with, not them. What do you think you should say? What are you willing to try and say, right? What are you willing to try and test and tweak, right? What are those things? That's interesting to me. Like, what are the things that you're willing to take a risk at and do something different, right? I'm going to tell you one more story. This is a different coaching call. So I was coaching a different client on this. And they were talking about their purpose, and they were talking about their mission. They were talking about getting people who are in their world to take action, right? And they were asking me a lot of questions, and I could tell they were also doing this thing where you're like, designing your business, designing your work life around committee. What do you think I should do? Well, what do you think I should do? Let me ask somebody else. What do they think I should do? And anytime I see this, it's, again, those like flashing signals. No, do not enter. Don't do this. I like to think of my business and anyone's business, a successful one, a profitable one, having two things, like having strategy in place, right? Having a beacon where you're like, this is the overall strategy of my business. And the way that you've come up with that strategy is maybe through mentors, is through a really great coach, is through learning. And then there's something else. And that something else is you. That is the intuition, right? That is nothing you can get off the shelf at a bookstore. That is nothing you can sign up for in an online training. That is nothing that your neighbor, friend, millionaire, graduate from blah, blah, blah school could tell you to do, right? They don't know. They don't know. They don't have your purpose. They don't have your mission. That is your intuition. That is a really, really important beacon to follow. That is a really important place that so many social entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders just completely ignore, because they might have a board in their ear. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this instead. Wait, change course, do this. Or because you're training hopping and you're not following through with a particular method. Anytime it gets hard and a little uncomfortable and a little risky, you hop on to a different strategy, right? So instead, I like to have a nice mix of following one clear strategy and following your own intuition, so that instead of asking for a bunch of different people's opinions on a particular campaign, on a particular outreach strategy, on how much you should ask in that funder meeting, on how much you should, or what you should say on that discovery call, right? Instead of any of that, you decide. How much do you think you should ask? What are the words you think you should say? If you were going to pitch me right now, what would it sound like, right? What would it sound like? What would you go for, right? You can have one or two people as your sounding boards for things, but I would be really careful on taking their advice to the, 110th percent place. Instead, I want you to take your advice. I want you to say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm stuck on this one or two things. What do you think? And then listen to what they have to say. And then you get to decide what, if any, or all of their advice you want to add into the mix, right? I'm going to give you a cooking analogy. I was cooking last night and I was making some cauliflower, which is Greek style. You add a couple of cinnamon sticks, you add some oregano, right? Now, if somebody else is cooking cauliflower, they're probably not going to add cinnamon sticks, but I'm going to tell them, add cinnamon sticks. It's going to change the game. You need some tomatoes in there too, you guys. But it will totally change the way cauliflower tastes and smells. It smells so good. But you get to decide. You get to say, you know what, Christina? Cinnamon is for pumpkin pie and lattes, and I am not adding it to savory foods. Or you get to say, you know what? I've never done that before. That's interesting. I'm willing to try it, but I'm only going to add 1 cinnamon stick because you're crazy. I'm not adding 2. I'm going to see how I like it, right? Like, we do not have to blindly follow the advice of the people who are in our industry. We do not have to blindly follow the advice of the people who are helping, who are offering to help, right? Just because they're offering to help and just because they're being a sounding board does not mean you have to blindly follow their advice. So the next time you have an upcoming meeting, phone call, date, prospective something, right? A place where you're selling, a place where you're going to get some yeses and some nos, an opportunity, right? And you say to yourself, I don't know what to say. I wish I had the right pitch to say. Instead, I want you to do this exercise. And this is what I walked the first client through. I said, let's say you go to the place where they're a yes. You have the meeting and they're a hell yes. They're like, I'm so glad that you reached out. Yes, yes, yes. I'm in. What's the next step? Okay. So they're a yes. Ask yourself, what did I say? What did I say in that meeting? What made it a hell yes for them? And really go to that place. Like, take a moment, go for a walk, close your eyes, sit down. Don't close your eyes and walk at the same time, one or the other. But like, go to a place where they're a yes and start cultivating your pitch for the yeses, not the nos. I told them, both of these clients, I told them, if I went to design my next training, design my next program, and I designed the entire marketing plan and the entire copy and messaging and social posts and email for all the people who were like maybes or no's, or I just was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to think of this. My messaging would sound pretty terrible. It would sound pretty watered down, and it probably sound pretty confusing. And it would be very easy for people to scroll on by. But instead, if I go to this space where I'm like, I've sold it out, I've reached my goal, I've got a room full of people online who are exactly the people that I want to sign up. They're there. And I think about them. And then I go to write the email. And then I go to write the sales page. And I think about them, the people who are the hell yeses, the people who are like, yes, I've been waiting for this. Thank you. I think to myself, what did I need to tell them? What were they looking for? Same thing for you. What are they looking for that they haven't had yet? And what did I need to tell them in that pitch, in that story? What picture did I need to paint? What story did I need to tell? What social proof of another person that I've helped that's just like them? Getting in that space is the key. Think about writing for the yeses. Think about not how intimidating, because it is intimidating going into these pitch meetings, going into these discovery calls, whatever it is. Not thinking about them being no's, thinking about them being yeses. They're yeses. They want to hang out, right? And writing your pitch for them. Doing the direct outreach, picking up the phone, and imagining they already said yes. What did I say? This is something we've been talking about in Easy Emails for Impact. This is my 5-week program that will teach you how to write better emails faster that get your clients, customers, and donors to a yes. If you're like, yes, I need this, all you need to do to win a spot to this class is rate and review this podcast. You're already here. Rate and review it. Send me a screenshot over on Instagram or on email, whatever you prefer. Send me a screenshot of your review and you'll be automatically entered to win. So go through that exercise. Make it fun. Smile a little. It's not all so heavy. And I will see you in the next one. Like what you're hearing and want to take this to the next level? I want to invite you to go to purposeandprofit.club to watch my free class. In there, I will tell you the number one thing that's keeping your nonprofit or social impact business stuck and what to do instead. Go to purposeandprofit.club. Think you've reached out to everyone in your network? Are you out of ideas to get noticed and get funded? I hear you. That's why I'm giving you a chance to steal my prospect list. Yes, you can generate leads for your nonprofit or impact-driven business. Grab my mini training and list delivered to your inbox instantly. Go to splendidcourses.com/prospect.